Before I committed to Jesus, I was like a typical college student. All the stereotypes applied to me. It was lots of fun, but it was also very empty. And after committing to Jesus, everything is more complete, and yeah, the friendships and the relationships that I have with people are a lot more full and a lot more fulfilling. And I guess in like talking about college and studying, I don't really have as much anxiety, and it's very calming because I know that God's there God's there, I guess, just wherever I am. And even though there's a lot of pressure in college to do well, the fact that God's there and is right beside us is really comforting.
Okay, so I think that before I made a commitment to Jesus, my life was definitely more self-centered. I remember in particular in middle school when I had just moved to a new area. During this time I spent a lot of time worrying about what other people thought about me, and I changed myself a lot in order to get other people to like me as well. This sort of mindset carried into high school, where I still sought fulfillment through the approval of others, and I also began to be more focused on things like getting a good GPA and what colleges I could get into, just because these were things that a lot of people often compared themselves with. So later on, when I got to college, that mindset still didn't change very much. It was only a few months ago that I decided to make a commitment to Jesus, because I didn't want to, I learned through reading the Bible and through my friends at ACF that He already accepts me. Knowing that fact has relieved a lot of stress in my life, because I realized that I didn't and shouldn't have to be so focused on myself. And more importantly, accepting Jesus has allowed me to see into other people's lives so I can build strong relationships with them.
Before committing to Jesus, I was really fearful about what other people thought of me, and I was also really concerned with doing well in school. So I'd focus on getting good grades rather than making good friends. But now that I've committed to Jesus, He's given me more boldness and courage, and I've been able to be more open with people, and I've come to realize that loving other people is the most important thing, rather than just doing well in school.
Before I made a commitment to Jesus, I relied on myself to do everything. I'm the kind of person that wants to do everything and usually tries to, and even though I couldn't actually do everything I wanted, I hated asking for help or admitting that to others that I was struggling. And I gave off the vibe that I was always calm and chill, but in reality there was a lot of stress and anxiety in me. But with God, I know that I don't have to rely on my own strength. By admitting that I'm weak and seeking strength from God, I'm actually stronger. I'm no longer a slave of my anxiety that plagued me before. I'm at peace knowing that God has a plan for me. I've learned to seek help from others, and this has forced me to be vulnerable and weak. And it's during those times that I realize how much I need God. Watching how Jesus was present in my friends' lives as they went through hardships really helped me see for myself what it means to live a life committed to Jesus. I really admired how strong their faith was, and despite everything they were going through. And that experience really made me want to have my own relationship with Jesus.
Well, the turning point was when I decided I didn't want to always just worry about my own flaws all the time. I didn't want to focus on myself all the time anymore, and I wanted rather to get to know other people better.
The turning point was when Serena is the person that I did Bible study with, and the turning point is when Serena and I decided to do Bible study with each other. So we held each other, or more, she held me accountable for learning more about the Bible, about Jesus, and that was really critical for me because even though I said that that I wanted to look more and learn more initially, without her there, I don't know if I would have followed through with that promise. So yeah, it's working with someone, talking to someone, and being in community with someone that really helped me.
I say that the turning point happened a little while ago, just after Brosis Week this year. This was a few months ago. For those who don't know, Brosis Week is a week where the brothers and sisters here at ACF, we devote time to give each other gifts and show each other sacrificial love. It was around this time that I really realized how selfish that I could be, and so I decided that I want Jesus to teach me how to love other people unconditionally as he had. Essentially, I decided that I wanted to follow him because even though it's tough and almost impossible, I wanted to be more like him in how he understood and helped others.
He was present before my commitment and the kindness that people showed me, especially in Washington University's Asian Christian Fellowship. People kept extending invitations to me to come to their large group and to learn more about Jesus, even when I was really reluctant at first. And after I started going, they really welcomed me into their community and helped me learn more about Jesus by exploring the gospel with me and sharing with me how they see him in their lives. Now that I've committed to him, I see him in my friends around me, and whenever I'm feeling stressed or worried about life, Jesus just gives me more peace and reminds me that things always get better if I worry less about school and stuff.
God has been present in pursuing me all my life, but it wasn't until recently that I began to notice him working in my life. Throughout college, he has shown me how following Jesus has changed the lives of friends around me and provided me a loving community and kept extending more invitations to learn more about Jesus. Having a relationship with Jesus means that he's always present by my side. I speak to him through prayer, and he often speaks to me through his written word. And I feel assured knowing that I'm never alone. And even though my commitment to him sometimes wavers, Jesus' commitment to me is unchanging and never failing.
In the time up to, I guess, my commitment, were the first time that I said I was Christian, his presence was more in my mind, where I knew he was there, and I believed in a God, but I didn't necessarily believe in Jesus. So I was always looking for that something, and I always asked, where is this relationship with God? And after I committed, I guess that's where I started realizing, in actuality, how present God was in every part of my life. Before I started looking and after I started looking, through the people that I talked with, or through basically just everyone around me. So after I committed, he was everywhere.
For a long time before my commitment, I think back and see how I was trying really hard to ignore him for the most part. It was really thanks to a lot of the brothers and sisters here at ACF that I can see how Jesus was working through them, and he was hard at work in my life even though I was trying to push him away. That I really have to thank is Esther Wong, our staff worker for ACF, because she's always been nudging me in the right direction. She was always willing to talk to me even when I was being really stubborn and reluctant, and she was always very understanding. I think it's really amazing in general to see how Jesus works through other people, especially when people are pretty much busy all the time, and yeah, it's really amazing to see people take time out of their lives to see how you're doing.
What helped me in understand God the most was going to a small group where I was able to read the Bible and talk about it with others in a small group setting. I also found a one-on-one Bible study that I did with a friend really helpful because I was able to feel comfortable about asking questions about Jesus.
Having people confront me about my faith and just asking me questions really forced me to think about what I believed in. And even though those conversations were sometimes uncomfortable, I was really thankful for it. I also really appreciate it because it gave me an opportunity to ask questions that I was otherwise too scared to ask.
For me, when I was working with Serena, she said that I was super rational and I needed a person who would be like that. So the best thing that helped me was reading books. I read 5 books, more than that, but I also listened to a bunch of sermons online. And the best book, the book that really helped me a lot was The Reason for God, just because it was extremely rational. And even though it didn't answer all of my questions, it did answer the majority of them. And through reading that book, I realized just what it really means to be Christian. And it's not just about proving to yourself through rational thought that God is real.
So a lot of things that have helped me with my journey are the people. It's awesome to have been accompanied by such caring people in my process of discovering and understanding Jesus, especially since I didn't have to fight for their approval all the time. And it's because of how kind and dedicated they are that I see Jesus working in other people's lives too.
God has blessed me with so many opportunities to grow this past year. He continues to extend invitations to grow closer to Him. And lately, God has especially been present when I encounter situations of uncertainties. And knowing that I can trust God, I've been able to step out of my comfort zone more and try new things. Where I am now is not at all how I imagined myself to be when I first started college. It's actually so much better than I ever imagined, and it's all because of God.
I've seen God just acting through other people to really strengthen my relationship with Him. But at the same time, I've also seen God using me. So I'm working, or not really working, just talking with someone, and just through this very casual side chatter, I've really seen God working through me to really reach her, and that's been really great for me. But I'm sure it's even greater for that other person, and even greater so for God.
My advice to people who are still seeking God would be not to be afraid of asking others questions about Jesus and seeking help from others and getting to know Him better. Just find someone you're comfortable talking your spiritual beliefs with.
My advice would be to not be afraid to ask questions, even how silly you think they might be. Because even after I started following Christ, there were so many things that I was confused about or didn't understand, but it's okay because God is so amazing yet so mysterious, and we can't understand everything. And through asking questions, you can begin to understand Him more and more and deepen your relationship with Him.
I guess the only advice I can really give is something that I struggled with for a long time, is to keep on saying yes and don't lose hope, because while you're saying yes, even if you don't feel or see God or Jesus there, He is there. And struggling and finding and looking for God and Jesus everywhere in your life is something that took me a long time. And it was only through not losing hope and I guess being with others in a community of discussion and talking that I was finally able to really feel Jesus.
So advice that I would give to people who are seeking is that it's okay to be reluctant and a little bit scared. I'm the sort of person who never takes risks or gambles with anything big, and especially like making a commitment to Jesus. So before I made my commitment, I was really personally unsure of what would happen. But even if you're really tentative, I would say that you should still try and keep on learning more about Jesus, because he will always love you no matter what. Don't feel pressured at all to make a commitment, and just know that if you ever go looking for Jesus, he'll find you.